Hayden put it very probably today, was that this was kind of the trip that we were most excited about on the movie. So to actually be here and continue shooting is great. This moment here is really to kind of emphasize just how different they are, in a sense. Like they both have the same ability to teleport and jump places, but it's just how differently they use it. And Griffin is much more of a kind of wild, outlandish kind of character. And this sequence here where Griffin basically steals a car from this dealership behind me is just more evidence of that. You know, David sees the car and yeah, it's a nice car, but Griffin takes it the step further by, you know, stealing it and taking it out the dealership.
We thought it would be fun when we were in the script process to have Griffin steal a car, and we started to think about what cars would be amazing, and for various reasons I thought that the Mercedes SL65, the convertible, would be a great thing to be tooling around in the middle of the night in Tokyo.
These Mercedes are absolute animals. They beat any Ferrari. They're a powerhouse. They're so good, and the challenge is to, say, come to Tokyo and actually be able to use them to their full potential. We have to use various rigs, and we have to put various rigs onto the cars. Some are front-mounted, so we have a camera on the front of the vehicle. Others are rear-mounted, and others we're using on a motorbike because we can't draw attention to ourselves too much, so we're using a very small camera, a Libra, on a motorbike, so we can hurtle in between traffic and catch up with the Mercedes. And also we can get the camera very low to the ground, so the car looks really sexy.
At the end of the day, you can feel it in your bones if you've actually gone there. Whether it's the fact that you're finding extras there, whether it's because, okay, you're on the streets of Tokyo, you're flying to Tokyo, you're prepping in Tokyo. You as a filmmaker are learning things about that culture and little details and nuances that you just would never get if you hired a bunch of Japanese actors in Toronto to pretend that you were in Tokyo. I'm just trying to get a piece of you guys tumbling on the ground. So just make it as messy as possible here that you're rolling around. It's hard to imagine a film where the first units traveled more places than this movie. I can't even imagine a story that would sort of accommodate that many locations. It's just that we happen to have teleporters, so if you don't have people who can teleport, how would the story go to that many places?
There's one version of this film, and that could have been the whole film being shot in Canada with a green screen behind them. It was incredibly important to us that the teleportation to other cities in other worlds be real, be grounded, be textured, be interactive with a real environment, not only in terms of the audience's relationship to these places, which is incredibly important, but also the character's relationship to these places. We wanted the actors to feel like they're really interacting on a Roman street, as opposed to interacting on a Canadian street with Roman, picture cars.
I think that that's how it should be. I'd rather, conserve the money and be clever about how we plan the movie and go there for real rather than fake it in a computer. This is kind of like how they used to do it, many years ago, and before the advent of computers, you didn't have a choice. You had to go somewhere. That's the essence of filmmaking, is going to the real place, and trying to create the magic.
This is a movie about, someone who can go anywhere. They can go there, blink of an eye. A dialogue scene that starts here in New York City could continue for 4 lines of dialogue in Tokyo, and then go to Rome for a minute, and because that's what these characters can do. We went to Tokyo for 2 weeks, we were in Italy for 10 days, we were in Prague for a couple of days. Each one of these places with a crew that only spoke that language. France, London, Egypt, Baja, Louisiana, Toronto, Montreal, Detroit, Ann Arbor, New York City, Los Angeles. When you look at the movie, I don't think anyone's ever combined sort of the traveling that the Bond movies or the Bourne movies do with the kind of visual effects that we were doing.